Hey guys, a very quick video. I'm not gonna be finishing this build, so I just want to still do some kind of video. So, well, simply this build doesn't have enough of memes, I guess, for me. Well, for mapping, it does feel very good. It's very fast, but single target is really lacking. But maybe you will still want to do this build, maybe even for the flashback, since it's not really expensive. Well, gonna have to skip that. Oh, and we got a breach. So the idea was to use Ngamahu's Flame Axe with, it triggers Molten Burst on hit. So I wanted to maximize the amount of balls you get and use cast and melee kill with Magma Orbs, using 2 threshold jewels for Magma Orbs. But in the end, Volatile Dead is just so much better for this, since Magma Orbs don't travel fast enough and Volatile Dead at least chase down the enemy. Wow, what a terrible breach location. Oh. Whoa. So Volatile Dead chases down the remaining enemies that you didn't hit or didn't finish killing, and just finishes them off. And as you can see, it's pretty fast. So as you know, the faster you go, the better the build is. So it's like 50% good build. But like I said, single target is just terrible. Anything that is on kill, that relies on kill, is not gonna be good for single target. It can be decent since this is a Scion Pathfinder and Slayer. Since Pathfinder gets charge recovery, also penetration. Let's see the boss. Use this, use that. Some bosses are easier than others. Nice. The more enemies you have, the faster basically you clear, because the more you trigger a cast on melee kill, the more balls you get, the more corpses you get, the more you can cast Volatile Deads. I mean trigger Volatile Deads, and basically the faster you clear the room. Like I said, because this is Pathfinder, you get a bunch of speed from it. Actually, I don't even have Fortify on my Leap Slam. Ah, and I forgot Blood Rage. So, I am using 6-link floor view, but even 5-link would do if you're not taking this build too seriously. I'm only level 77. But the clear speed, as you can see, is pretty decent. And single target isn't that bad either. But I tried tier 6 Elder. It was pretty bad, like really bad. If you don't want to use cast and melee kill, wow, already clean. Cool. Guess I'm gonna talk about the build then. About items. If you don't want to use cast and melee kill, you could just swap cast and melee kill with melee phase damage, and instead of Volatile Dead, just use faster attacks. In the hideout I got 24,000 tooltip DPS, but then you get frenzy charges. It's not accounted for penetration and all that stuff. So am I getting something? Yeah, also when I use the flask, about 30,000. So the damage is not that amazing, but you also need to account that you are also dealing damage with Molten Burst. It's not that high damage, but I mean, it's something. It does release, what, I believe 3 projectiles by default, and I use GMP, so about 7 projectiles when you trigger it. So anything inside the axe is affecting the Molten Burst, and it doesn't need to be linked. So I use elemental damage with attacks, GMP, added fire damage, elemental focus, because I'm converting all of my physical damage into fire, fire penetration and onslaught. When you're rolling through the map, you don't need to use the onslaught flask, and you don't need to use onslaught on kill, beast jewels or anything else. It's kind of nice, but for single target you could just use physical projectile damage. Let's see. So for the main setup, I do have Cyclone, fire penetration, cast on melee kill, cast on melee, Whoops. Okay, again. Cyclone, Fire Penetration, Cast on Melee Kill, Volatile Dead, Chance to Ignite, and Elemental Focus. Chance to Ignite, I didn't want to recolor it. You could probably use... Actually, Chance to Ignite is decent, because it affects both your Cyclone, which is full fire damage, and Volatile Dead. Or Magma Orbs if you want to use Magma Orbs. Then for the rest of the items are pretty cheap. Well, maybe this helmet is not that cheap, but you don't need so much resistances. As you can see, I have way too much lightning and cold resistance, so just decent resistance and live helmet. Lore Weave isn't actually that needed, but since I have it, may as well use it. It does give flat physical damage to attacks, which boosts Cyclone damage, and it does have increased elemental damage, which boosts Cyclone and Volatile Dead damage. Crit chance isn't that needed, but it's nice to proc Elemental Overload. Also, proccing Elemental Overload is pretty easy because you do release a bunch of balls. So your Cyclone can proc it, your Molten Burst can proc it, and your Volatile Dead can proc it. So proccing it is very easy. Then rings are just didn't even think about rings, just slapped on some rings that I had with a bunch of resistances. Amulet is very decent, mostly for elemental damage for attacks, mostly for Cyclone. Tomb Fist only one socket, using blind on hit inside. Leap Slam, I normally use Leap Slam with faster attacks. You would also use Fortify as well, linked with it. Blood Rage, boots, decent boots. Enchantment, I don't care about enchantment. I just use whatever I have. Lots of resistance, life, movement speed. Oh, now this may be a bit strange, but maybe because I was just lazy, but Ancestral Protector is linked with elemental damage with attacks, faster attacks, and minion and totem elemental resistance support. So this is obviously not the best, but it still gives 90% more elemental damage. Since this is full fire damage, I mean full conversion damage, so it does still work. And the belt is also nothing special. I am using a Lion's Roar, but I kind of hate using it. I would much prefer to use the Wise Oak. If I could get my fire resistance to be the highest one, and it would be probably better. Also Worm Flask, because when you kill worms you trigger your cast on melee kill, but it's not the best. I don't know, maybe you don't need to spam it, you just trigger it once, wait a bit, click again, don't have charges. I don't really know if it's worth having more Worm Flasks and using them against single target. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But I think Wise Oak would be better than Lion's Roar, because Wise Oak would affect both your Cyclone damage, well, because it would give penetration, your Cyclone damage, and your Volatile Dead. While Lion's Roar only affects your Cyclone damage. It gives more damage, but it also has knockback, so which can be very annoying for bossing. But for clear speed it does feel pretty nice. And then just Quicksilver, because you gotta go fast, right? For the passive skill tree, Scion took Pathfinder for quality of life improvement, because attack speed, cast speed is very nice, flask recovery, also penetration is nice. And Slayer for the leech and Culling Strike. From Uberlab, I don't know. I probably would take the path of the Ranger, because you can easily grab these anyway. If you need, like, I don't know, attack speed or projectile damage for your burst, or Volatile Dead, or just life, I don't know. And the rest of the passive skill tree, actually I started through here because I was intending to pick these AoE nodes as well, and Regen, I didn't want to take Regen because I was actually considering taking Wall Pact, and you may still want to get the Wall Pact after the Uberlab, of course. And I started traveling down to grab this one, but excuse me, but actually it was a mistake. You could just use to sustain your mana cost, you could just use Thieves Torment, for leveling, and I was using it until like 64, 65 or whatever, when I could just swap better stuff. But Thieves Torment is cheap solution to all of your mana problems, and it also gives well, instant life recovery, which is also nice. So in that case, you could also even use the Thieves Torment in the endgame setup and don't go all this way down here, but also you get +2 weapon range, which gives a lot of AoE to your Cyclone, and it just feels smoother. And of course some life along the way, more attack speed. Dexterity may be a problem, so you may want to grab some dexterity early on, especially for the Cyclone and faster attacks if you are using. Now I'm also traveling here, but basically I'm not gonna get more damage, so single target is not gonna be good unless... Oh, one more thing for the items. I was actually thinking of using these two. So you get, when you combine these two, well, I'm not level 80 yet, when you combine these two you get a lot of attack damage and spell damage. So spell damage is nice because you have Volatile Dead, and attack damage is also nice because of Cyclone. So basically, and it also gives a lot of life, damage, flat damage, and triggers more stuff. The more stuff you trigger, the better the build is, right? So yeah, these could also be decent options if you can balance your resistances, of course. It's still not gonna be endgame build, it's just gonna be for farming. Yeah, the next build that I want to do is the strength zombie build, but not just any zombie build, but I want to see if I can actually stun lock bosses with zombies. So I will try doing that. Anyway, that's all. Thank you for watching. See you soon.